Warning, spoilers for the original Life is Strange. What made the original Life is Strange so brilliant and beloved was its honest and powerful emotion. It could be goofy with occasionally hammy dialogue and a liberal use of hella, but it was never afraid to bare its heart, and in doing so became a sterling example of storytelling in games, and one of the best titles of 2015. Life is Strange Before the Storm is a prequel trilogy following one of the leads of the original title, Chloe Price, and her Laura Palmer-esque partner, Rachel Amber. The Chloe of Life is Strange, blue-haired and determined, isn't present at the start of Before the Storm. Rather, we see a young and awkward teenager, unsure of how she fits into the world around her, until Rachel Amber stumbles into her life. From here, we follow the two as their relationship develops into something more than friends, becoming a heart-wrenching tale of love and loss for anyone that knows how their stories end. However, the promise of Before the Storm, that of filling the player in on Chloe and Rachel's relationship, is something which developer Deck 9 fails to fully execute.
So, are you gonna invite me in?
Sometimes, when you meet someone who's going to change your life, you just know it, I guess.
Let's leave. For real.
Rather than weaving a comprehensive narrative which brings us to the stations at which Chloe and Rachel sit at the start of Life is Strange, Before the Storm settles to a more constricted tale. The events of the three-part narrative take place over the course of a week, positioning Chloe and Rachel less as well-developed friends or lovers, and more like eager children. We see the relationship grow at such an expedient pace over such a short period of time that it becomes hard to appreciate some of the well-written dialogue when you consider these two have only been talking for a week. Rather than allowing for the events to take place over the course of the 3-year period they had to work with, Deck 9 leaves any progression to an extended montage which plays during the final moments at the end of the game, apparently satiated with leaving the most interesting and heart-rending plot revelations for a one-note post-credit stinger. A further inconsistency is the wild and deep plot holes which exist when one takes the events of Before the Storm into those of the original game. One example that stands out is Frank's relationship with Rachel, which is non-existent in this title, making the apparent connection between the two in Life is Strange confusing and perverse, regardless of whether or not the player decides to set Chloe and Rachel up. Deck 9 also appears to be afraid to acknowledge the fact that this is a tragic love story, one without a happy ending, instead deciding to save such notions for the aforementioned stinger, which is massively disappointing. Despite all this, Before the Storm is still an excellent standalone title, possessing much of the same heart and rawness as the original. While Ashley Birch does not return to voice Chloe Price, newcomer to the series Rihanna DeVries is a standout, perfectly representing the insecurity and loneliness of the character. Kylie Brown as Rachel Amber also stuns with her ability to play Rachel as much older than 16, casting the character in a more complex and poignant light, which contrasts beautifully with DeVries' performance. Deck 9's decision to leave behind the Unreal Engine in favor of their new in-house engine, which utilizes Unity, dubbed Skyforge, pays off massively, resulting in a game without the technical issues with lip syncing and character movement which the original struggled with throughout its run. Going back to Life is Strange after completing Before the Storm, there's a noticeable difference in both performance and aesthetic as everything looks cleaner and softer, with richer hues in Skyforge. Thanks to Unity, the game looks like how I remember the original looking, and in motion, looks like stills from Life is Strange. The original game was, and is well known for its near-perfect selection of tracks which embody the emotion on screen. As such, Deck 9 was left with the massive task of following up said perfection, and they did, overwhelmingly so, as the band Daughter composed Before the Storm score with such perfection that it easily stands near the top of the best original score in gaming. I've said raw emotion in this review a few times, but that's what makes this series special, and Daughter clearly understands this, as it's exactly what they bring to the game, resulting in the best OST of 2017 and a contender for Best of the Decade. Tracks like All I Wanted and A Hole in the Earth convey an incredible narrative ability to stand apart from the title, but when included, result in moments which feel larger than life.
Rachel?
Released as a 13-track album aside the launch of Episode 1, music from Before the Storm is a triumph. Just as with the original, this score will remain in my rotation for years to come. Life is Strange Before the Storm is a powerful and emotional journey into the angst and heartbreak of young people. Whether you identify with the characters, their situations and relationships, or the world around them, Deck 9 has painted a comprehensive picture of the struggles of youth and is a worthy prequel to the original. Yet, my thoughts and feelings about Before the Storm are complicated. I adore the setting, the characters, the music, and the atmosphere, and segments of the plot deeply resonate with me, and while I enjoy my 14-odd-hour return to the shores of Arcadia Bay, I find myself dissatisfied with the overarching plot and direction they chose to take the story in. It's an experience with some real highs, but that doesn't make up for all the faults which appear at random intervals throughout the narrative. In the crowded field of adventure games which focus on storytelling, Before the Storm stands out despite this. Not as tall and resonant as the original, but a title well worth your money, time, and most importantly, tears. And as such, Life is Strange Before the Storm is an 8 out of 10. I'd like to further explore Before the Storm, the direction it chooses to go in the final episodes, and the thematic ties with The Tempest, a source text which the game cribs its episode titles from, in a video at some point, so if there's any interest, I'd love to hear so in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks for your time.